I am Johan, and this is Orson, and you're watching Go Ahead and Make Me.
Go ahead and make me.
Well, one moment you're knee deep in pumpkins and spider webs, and the next moment it's already time to decorate the tree for Christmas. So this is the first Christmas episode of Go Ahead and Make Me. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining us. If he doesn't hog the entire screen, of course we're all still in the middle of the COVID epidemic. I hope that you and yours are healthy and happy, and if you're not, that you're in recovery. I hope that we're going to get through all this before Christmas, which is very unlikely, but we can always hope, right? Now, the project for this episode is a tree. Not just any tree, but a tree that we make out of either strips from jelly rolls or squares from a pack of charm squares. It looks like this. Orson is a bit in front of it. I'll show you a close-up of it, it'll be easier. This is the template that we'll be using for the tree. You could draw this yourself, but for people who are not as confident drawing things, there is a pattern that you can download. It's in the video description. It's over 2 pages. All you have to do is cut it out, glue them together with some sticky tape, and there's your template. This is what we use to make the tree. Now this tree is made out of strips from jelly rolls, but what we're doing is we're going even smaller. This is a pack of charm squares. I bought this particular pack on sale, and usually I don't buy charm packs because they're not that useful. There's not an awful lot you can do with them. But I bought it because I thought, oh, I was being greedy because it was cheap, and I thought, oh, I'll have a few of those. Now, what I didn't know when I bought this pack is that, because they very cleverly didn't show that on both the bottom and the top fabric, is that the rest of the fabrics, they contain a lot of metallic glitter in the pattern. And I probably wouldn't have bought it if I knew that. There's not an awful lot you can do with glittery fabric, I don't think. I mean, what could you make out of that? But, you know, for Christmas, of course, it'd be very appropriate. So that's what we're doing. We're making a Christmas tree out of these squares. Before I show you how to make a start, I will show you what we're aiming for here. Now this is one of the panels. We're going to make 5 of these, and we need to make them double. So in total we're going to need 10. 5, the mirror image of the other ones, of course. This is what you need because it needs to cover the entire pattern. And so we need to make rows of these squares and then sew them together in such a way that we can create an entire piece of one of these sides of the Christmas tree. So I'll show you how to do that. So once you've made 2 of these, one the mirror image of this one, that's when you put them together and sew them together on one side along this line, and then you can cut it out at the same line with a bit of margin, and then one piece will look like this when you turn it inside out. See, this is just one piece of the tree. You can already see the shape, and we make 5 of these, and then those 5 we're going to attach to each other, and then we end up with a tree. Before we go on, I just wanted to show you this t-shirt that I made that I'm really proud of. As you can see, it's a Christmas t-shirt with a stocking on it. I mean, how cool is that? I made this after seeing a tutorial on how to make Christmas stockings on my friend Chip's new channel called The Quilt Stream. He's showing you live how to do all kinds of things regarding sewing and quilting, and one of them was a stocking. And so I made this stocking t-shirt, and I think it's really cool, don't you think? Okay, maybe not that cool. Anyway, check out Chip's new channel, The Quilt Stream. The link to his channel is in the video description. Now let me show you what I meant with this charm pack being full of glittery fabrics. Just cut it open. See, they're all quite nice, but a lot of them have, I don't know if it comes across properly, there's a lot of glitter here. This is full of glitter. Not sure you can see it with the camera. But this one has a lot of glitter too. Not sure it comes across, but take it from me, there's a lot of glitter in all of these fabrics. I mean, they're cute enough, and the colors are pretty nice. And especially when you assemble it as a tree, it'll make for some kind of, I suppose, a wintry, icy kind of tree because of these colors. Yeah, so that's what we're working with. As I showed before, what we want to do is to create these rows out of these charm squares just by sewing them together in such a way that the pattern of the tree could be covered by it completely. As you can see on all sides, the template still has fabric visible. And so eventually, when we have two of them together, we will sew it all along this line and then turn it inside out and do that 5 times before we can assemble the whole thing. Now, you simply start, and maybe it's a good idea to do this while you're watching your favorite show or listening to a podcast, because it's pretty mind-numbing work to put all these squares together, to sew them together. Of course, it'll be a lot faster on the machine if you do it on the sewing machine. I didn't because, well, for one thing, I really enjoy sewing things by hand. For another, it's nice when you gift something. If you make this into a gift for someone, then it's nice to think that you actually made it with your own 2 hands. Plus, I don't really enjoy just sitting there doing nothing, even when I'm watching a show. So I prefer doing at least something creative or useful. So all you really do is you take 2 different types of fabric from the charm pack, you align them, and you sew them together on one end. Here are 2 squares sewn together, as you can see, and that's really all you need to do for making these rows that make up the tree parts. You probably can't even see the thread, and that's because I used grey thread. My motto is always, if you don't know which color thread to use a grey, because grey 9 times out of 10 will blend into the other colors. As you can see here, you don't even notice that it's grey. I mean, I could have chosen a kind of soft blue or something, but I thought grey would be just as good, and it is. So now we have that. We make them into rows of these, as you can see. Now, this exact, let me just remove the other stuff so that it's a bit more clear. The exact schematic of how to assemble this, at what point to attach one row to the other. I'm not expecting you to just wing it, so I also included with the pattern a little drawing of how exactly these rows need to be attached to each other so that it covers the template. So I finished making the individual rows that make up the mirror image of this one. So all I have to do now is attach all these to each other. I want to see that I've actually made a mistake here. This square is the other way around. It's the wrong way around. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it like that because luckily the pattern on the other side, even though it's a bit paler, it still looks quite good. So I'm gonna be naughty and just leave it in. Here we are. So I've sewn all those rows together, and it's the mirror image of this one, as you can see. So we make 5 pairs of these. So one of them pointing this way and one of them pointing that way, if that's easier to visualize. Now once we've made our pairs, we take one pair at a time and put them on top of each other with the right sides of the fabric facing, and we pin them together. So now we can put the template on. And make sure there's fabric sticking out on all sides of the pattern. And then we can trace the pattern onto the fabric. I'm using a fine liner, and that's solely for the purpose of it being more visible for you. Normally I would either use a pencil or a special washable pen for fabric. In this case it's not super important because you're not going to be washing this, I don't think, anyway. So, but I still recommend you would use a pencil instead of a fine liner. I'm just doing this, as I said, so that you can see it better once the result is there. So we've drawn the pattern. Now you can see probably with the marker that this is just, so now you've got your pattern transferred to the fabric. What we're going to do now is we're going to sew one side of the pattern closed and we'll leave the other one open. The one we leave open is the straight edge. That's going to be on the inner side of the tree, so we're leaving that open. The one we're going to close is the one with the branches. Now I've sewn along the pattern line, like so. Just to illustrate again, I've sewn along this line that we've drawn, and now we can cut it out. And we first cut out the side where we've just sewn, and then we will also cut out the other side that is still open. Let's do that. Now that's one side cut. However, whenever I sew something that involves curves or round edges like this, I always prefer to give those areas a little nip here and there along the curves, just to accommodate the fabric a bit more when you turn it inside out. So that's one side that we've cut, and now along the straight line we can also start cutting that out. There we go. Don't forget to take out any pins that might still be in there. I think I'm okay. I don't feel any. Okay. So that's one finished piece. Now we can turn it inside out. And there it is. You've finished one piece. And as I said before, we need 5 of those. And luckily, I already made 4 more before this. So now all that's left to do is to attach them to each other. And the way we do that is not complicated at all. And if you do this on the machine, it's not going to be a lot of work at all. We take the straight edge of one piece and attach it to the straight edge of the next piece. And of course we'll use some pins for that. Of course with the good sides of the pieces facing each other. So 2 pieces pinned together, and we just sew along the straight edge, and we do this with all of the pieces. Now we've sewn all the sides together, and now it sort of looks like a, I don't know, like a dead jellyfish or something. For starters, let's turn it inside out. There we go. Now my initial idea when I designed this tree was to fill it up with polyfill, you know, like a stuffed toy. But I just ended up with a really fat tree, and it didn't really look good at all. And I really wanted the segments of the tree to stand out. And to have these bits facing inward, whereas these should be pointing outward. And I thought, well, I don't need to fill it at all, actually. All I need is something that it can support the whole thing, like a bottle. And the other thing that I thought was a good idea, and it turned out it was, because it really works, is to iron each side of the tree with spray starch, so it becomes really stiff, like you would use the spray starch on a collar. That's pretty much what it does here too, and you might even do it twice. Let it dry completely after the first time, and then do it again, and then should really become very stiff. So this is what the final product looks like. I'm quite happy with it. I actually like it more than the first one that I made. I put a little bird on top. Yeah, you could put anything on top. You can decorate the whole thing the way you prefer. I didn't put too many more glittery things on it because I thought the pattern itself was already so busy that it doesn't really need any more. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. If you do happen to make one, if you want to make one yourself, then please show me the results, because I'm very interested and I'd love to see what you made of this pattern. Alright, that was it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this project. I won't quite say Merry Christmas yet, because there's probably going to be another Christmas episode before then.
Go ahead and
if you liked what you saw, just give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a comment. Hope to see you next time. Alright, bye bye.
go ahead and make me.